Hi, my name is Rachel Ciullo. I'm the Associate Director of Development and Alumni Relations at the LBJ School of Public Affairs. And today I'd like to welcome César Melgoza. He's an LBJ alum from the class of 1986 and founder and CEO of E Pluribus LLC. César is the creator of Moxy, which is a nonpartisan civic engagement platform. And I'll just dive right in. Hi, César, it's great to have you. I want to start off by asking you to tell us a little bit about Moxy, and then how your experience at the LBJ school helped shape the creation of this platform.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Rachel. It's a pleasure to be with you. And big shout out to all my LBJ alums and current students and faculty as well. I could say that my experience there was fantastic. I had a great time and really enjoyed it and learned a lot. And so after the LBJ school, I actually went to work in local government. Some of the studying that I did at LBJ was related to local economic development. And I went to the city of San Jose to do that. I worked for the city manager there as an intern, along with a few other policy school grads, and learned a lot and enjoyed it. Then I got recruited away to Apple. So I joined them in the state and local government technology space. And then I fell in love with geographic information systems and developed a lot of technology there from a marketing perspective, working with the technical teams, and did that for a few years. And then once again, recruited away to a venture capital funded firm that was starting out that built geographic information systems, specifically the software and the data. And then I created my own firm called Geoscape, which was an international company on this particular subject, focused mainly on distribution and marketing. So I got away a little bit from public sector work. It was fascinating. I was an entrepreneur. The company did fairly well. And a few years ago, I accepted an offer from a major private equity firm to sell my interest in the company. And I was easy to convince because I wanted to do this next venture. And this next venture is, the company's name is called E Pluribus. It's an LLC, and our first product is something we call Moxy, and it's spelled M-O-X-Y. And we call it Moxy for two reasons. One is because most of you probably are familiar with the term Moxy. It's a Yiddish term, right? It kind of means bold courage, and you can describe it in different ways. But if you look at the word democracy, you look carefully, you'll see that it's got an M and an O and two C's and a Y. So we kind of converted the two C's to an X, and we call it Moxy. And what it is a nonpartisan social ecosystem that is designed to help optimize the democratic process. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of information at our disposal. A lot of information is available to us. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of. It's hard to understand. And let's just say normal people, residents and voters, have a difficult time understanding their government, what it's doing for them, maybe what it's not doing for them. And so what I dreamed up in answer to a question that arose during a conversation with one of my young daughters back then was, why can't we have quicker access to this information? I said, well, we could develop this into an app. So we could develop into an app who your elected officials are. When you have an election coming up, you can have all the information on the ballot with details. You can have a map showing all of your jurisdictions, and there's various, right, at the local, state, and national level. And you can also have a news feed that includes a wide variety of news to help inform you on what's going on in the United States, and as well as in other parts of the world. Now, as we know, one of the things that's happened to the United States, and not only the United States, but all over the world, is that thanks to social media, there's been both benefits and costs, right? One of the costs has been the development or the evolution of this thing that people call the echo chamber, which is the algorithms on many of the social media platforms give you more of what you've looked at. And this creates division because some of us have a different sets of facts, right? That we believe certain things, like as an example, on Sunday news programs, you had some television stations talking about inflation was like the top subject on their broadcast, while other stations didn't even talk about it at all. And it was really sort of a partisan dialogue, right? Some people want to focus on the dangers of the stimulus plan because of inflation. Other people aren't really paying attention to it. So with Moxie, you have a diversity of news sources, but you also have the official data, right? So you have legislation at the state and national level. You get notifications about the legislation when they're passed. And you have all kinds of other information that helps you get a really good idea for what's happening and very quickly. And also the opportunity for you to contribute to that dialogue through a variety of forums.
That's great. Thank you so much. So my next question is, you say Moxie will revolutionize our democracy. How do you see Moxie's role in accomplishing this?
Well, very simply that we are led to believe that the voters are at the center of our democratic process. And the reason I say we're led to believe, obviously I'm exaggerating just a little bit, but those of us who've been involved in politics and public policy understand that voters are not necessarily the first thing that elected officials care about. Once you get elected, you certainly need their vote, but allegiance to the party, allegiance perhaps to donors and other special interests are so overwhelming on the agendas of elected officials that reaching out to normal people, right, the voters who are supposed to have been represented in our democratic republic, kind of take a back seat to all of that. So what this does is it puts in the hands of normal people a lot of facts that are difficult even for elected officials and their staffs to get a hold of. So when an elected official has communication directly to their constituents, they can nurture that relationship, tell them what they're doing, and the constituent can also have their input, communicate directly with the elected official as well. So ironic enough, when we say revolutionize democracy, when you hear the word revolution, it doesn't really sound democratic because most revolutions didn't end up in a democratic way. But what we're saying is that we really need to make good on the promise of democracy, which frankly, we haven't quite closed the loop. We're not as democratic a nation as I think most of us would want us to be.
Thank you so much. With that, we'd love for you to share a short demo of Moxie for LBJ alumni that might be interested in joining the platform.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and do that now, and hopefully I don't get an interruption on the phone here. I'm going to just share my screen. So we're going to use my account with really no rehearsal. I'm going to share screen. Okay, I think you need to enable me to share the screen, Rachel. It says only the host can.
Sure, sure. Okay. Let me know if that works.
All right. There we go. Start broadcast. All right. So you're looking at my screen. In the background, you'll see my boys a long time ago. I'm going to launch it. It's the icon in the lower right-hand corner with an M, and you'll see that it goes from red to blue. That's because we want to emphasize the nonpartisan nature of the platform. We deliberately are nonpartisan. We want all parties to join. We have very strict community rules that people need to follow. But other than that, we want to hear and see everyone's point of view. So when you first launch this, the app, you'll see that it lands on a page called My Stream. And in the lower left-hand corner, it's represented as an icon with a funnel. And that means it's going to bring into this page things that are relevant to you, the interests that you've expressed, the people that you follow, legislation that affects your jurisdiction in a chronological feed, right? There's no algorithm other than what you've decided you want to follow and where you live and things that are relevant to you. At the top of that page, you'll see a section called Points of View. So many people are familiar with Instagram and other platforms that offer the ability to essentially upload an image, a video, or something like that. And you can essentially post that and look at what other people are would like to communicate with you, right? So in my POV, if you're the user, you can upload an image or a video. You can upload text with a certain background that we provide. And then you can look at your own point of view that you've actually posted. So there's mine. There's a couple of episodes there. I encourage you to watch them at your leisure. I'll just show it to you quickly. And then when they have a red ring around them, you'll see that you haven't seen those. So then you can click on them and watch. Now below that, you see forum posts. So this is a forum post that I've reacted to, and I posted actually. This is an article that is about essentially Governor Abbott, that he threatened to withhold pay from Democrats who walked out last week. And I'm sure you're intimately familiar with that whole thing that transpired there. So that's just one among many things in the stream. The next icon is a news page, and it starts with people going live at the top. So you can go live and share with people what you'd like them to know. And you could do this spontaneously if you want. You don't have to. It's a capability that power users and premium users have. Below that, you have a number of buttons for news sources. Now, the first one you'll see is search news. So you can just type in by keyword whatever you're interested in, and it'll find articles on that subject. Quite different from a web search. This actually draws from over 300 different news sources that we've curated only lightly so as to remove things that are, let's say, irresponsible or of low production value. But other than that, left, right, and center. Then you have other buttons like C-SPAN, NPR, Voice of America, Roll Call, The Hill, which are really kind of policy people publications that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And then you have your local news button, and then you have buttons based on your stated issues of interest. So as a user, you declare those interests, and then when you click one of those buttons, it'll essentially display articles that are about that subject. If you don't click any of the buttons, it gives you a summary of national news in chronological order. So this is not fed by an algorithm. In other words, we're not giving you just what you've seen before or perhaps like to see. We're giving you a diversity of articles across a wide spectrum. So when you see an article, you can click on it, and then it'll show you the source of that information. You can read the article if you like. You can actually also forward that article to a post if you wanted to as well. I'm just showing you some examples here. So you can click on the arrow and see the detail. Or, for example, if you wanted to create a post in a forum, you could share that article if you think other people would like to see it. You select the forum that you wanted to appear in, and then you add tags to it based on the type of article it is. And once you do that, you post it, and it arrives at a forum, which is the next button I want to show you. So in forums, it starts out by allowing you to create a post on whatever forum you'd like to post on, so to share your point of view. You can also view forums on different subjects, so you can see a variety of trending forums here at the top. And you have a long list of forums here that are, some of which we've created and some of which users of the platform have created. So a power user or an authorized organization like the LBJ School could create their own forum and do their own live streams. And then you could look at posts by subject that you've said is interesting to you. So you could click a button and see posts based on those subjects, or you could just view the trending posts on all of the forums. So I'm just scrolling through the trending posts that are up there as we're recording this session. And so this is meant to encourage dialogue, right? So there's a place to react, there's a place to add comments, and you can also share it out to another platform. So if you wanted to share it out through text or through your Twitter or Facebook, you could do that as well. The next button I'm sure is going to be interesting to people. and that is these are your elected officials. We call it my representatives. So when you enter the platform, you provide your residential address, and it organizes for you your representatives at a national, state, and local level, right? So when you do that, you can see your reps listed here. So I'll just pick on one of them. There's Marco Rubio. He hasn't joined the platform yet. He's been invited. We can invite him again. You can actually rate and review your representatives. As you can see, Marco Rubio has 2.8 stars. So he's got a little bit of work to do with his constituents that are on the platform. You see their contact information. You see their social media pages. You can see their jurisdiction map. When they join the platform, you'll see their forum, their podcast. And here's another button that I think people would be interested in is legislation. So if I click on legislation, you can see any bill that, in this case, Senator Rubio has sponsored, and it's in chronological order. Or you can look at all the bills that he's voted on. So when you click on voted, and then you look into the details, you can look at the bill. It's got many links to get more detail. And then you get a summary of the vote, right? At the bottom, you'll see the tally. So you see 91 senators voted on this bill. You'll see the yes votes, the no votes. And if you click on view voters, you'll see who voted yes, who voted no, and who abstained. And the blue text means you can click on those elected officials and you'll arrive at their page as well, okay? You can also see their fundraising. So the fundraising that they have reported, which they should have reported all of it, obviously. And in this case, you see that Senator Rubio has $24 million on hand. You see it by sector, by industry, and by other contributors. And you can analyze that to see, what you think. It's all public information. You can also see the committees and subcommittees that he's on, in case there's a particular issue of interest that you're researching. And you can also do this at the state level. So I live in South Florida. So my reps are here, state level as well. So if you click on one of them, you can also see that it shows you their jurisdiction. If you look at the map, you can see, okay, what does Demi Busata Cabrera, what does her district look like? And I'm in her district, and that's the map, okay, just as an example. Within the triple dot menu, among other things, you have the ability to chat. You have the ability to listen to podcasts. Some of them were created by members of the platform. So for example, our mayor here in Miami-Dade County, Daniela Levine Cava, has her own channel with her podcast, and we have others, individuals, thought leaders, and others on the platform. And then we have also some curated podcasts that you'll see at the bottom: The Journal, The News Hour, Democracy Now!, and so forth. So a range of podcasts. You also have all of your jurisdictions. So many people are just unaware of not only who their representatives are, but also of their jurisdictions and the shape of them, right? So here's where you can see a map of your jurisdiction along with each of your representatives right in the system with the map. When it's election season, you can get smart on voting. You have all kinds of details about voter registration, mail-in voting, in-person voting. You have details on the ballot. So I'll just pull up the one from November 3rd, and we'll see that we have all these different offices that were on the ballot. You also see the initiatives that were on the ballot. And sometimes people don't get a chance to research this, and we have it in your pocket. So you can do your homework on voting, just using your smartphone. And we publish the results of the election as well, and many other details related to elections. So we want to facilitate that so that people can make an informed decision. And let's say one of the last things I'll show you for now is surveys. So we do a number of surveys on the platform, and we collect data on them. And then we also publish reports about these surveys. This is one that we did just prior to the election that actually had some very accurate and predictive results, saying that it was going to be a lot closer than people were saying. And we're actually fielding one just now. We're doing one what we call a U.S. citizenship survey. It's going to be really interesting. I want to tell you a lot more about that later. Okay. We also have fun things like quizzes. So every month we post a quiz to test your savvy on things like civics and current events and trivia and that sort of thing. And there's a wide variety of resources at all levels of government that could come in handy for you to help you sort of answer questions or resolve issues that you may be having. So that there's more to it than that. One more brief thing. We've got this concept called Moxie Coins or M Coins. So you earn coins and you earn badge levels. It's kind of a gamification, if you will. So the more you use it, you earn coins, and in the future, there'll be different ways of redeeming them as well. So I know that's a lot for a quick demo, and it probably went kind of fast, but there's some, actually, if you go into Moxie Tours and Demos, you'll see that there's a number of screen recorded and voiceover demonstrations in case you want to review that and with somebody telling you how it works. Okay, how's that? Do you have any questions about that?
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. This is a really impressive tool, and we've just really enjoyed learning more about it today. And I think it can be a really useful tool for our alumni. And so to close, what's your call to action for alumni, for LBJ alumni? And why do you think this tool, in a few sentences, how can this tool help our alumni?
Well, for the LBJ alumni in particular, by definition, you know a lot more than the average person about public policy. And we all have different areas of specialization, right? So the call to action is let the rest of us know what you know. Share your insights and your point of view. Be a voice. Help educate the public. Let's create a constructive dialogue. Share your knowledge and understanding. Reach out to the normal person and get everybody excited about civic engagement. You know, a lot of people spend time on things that are not so meaningful for themselves and their families. Just spend a little bit of time on Moxie and you'll learn a lot, and it'll probably help you build a better life for you and your family. In a nutshell. And we'll be sending out, we'll be teaming up on an offer for LBJ alums to encourage them to join the platform and create their own channel on Moxie as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And, I would look forward to continuing the conversation. But in the meantime, take care.
Thank you so much.